Hello Jet fans, what's going on? I am Matt O'Leary back with another video here to recap training camp for August 15th. We are already halfway through the month of August, which part of me gets sad around this time because, I don't know, still the childhood, hey, summer's coming to a close, that's sad. But also football is so close to being back, which is making me super, super excited. But what's not making me excited is, unfortunately, this New York Jets training camp practice from this afternoon, because oh my god, did it not go very well at all. In fact, it was maybe the Jets' worst training camp practice of this year's training camp. I'd like to first start with a positive before we get into some of the more alarming things from earlier today. But the first positive is that Joe Tippmann got first team reps with the first team offense, obviously, at center. That is a major win. That's a positive. Remember, just a couple of weeks ago, it seemed like Robert Saleh strongly hinted that he wasn't in serious contention for that center spot at that time. And then fans ran with it. That it was he's a bust, terrible pick, disgraceful. JMS is better. All these crazy, crazy things before even playing a snap in a preseason game in the NFL. Now working with the first team offense, even got some, I believe, some minimal work at right guard with the second team offense as well. So I was happy to see Joe Tippmann getting some love after two really good preseason games from him, one against the Cleveland Browns, the other against the Carolina Panthers. So that is positive. We will sign up for that. Unfortunately, the positives kind of end there. Alijah Vera-Tucker did not practice today. It was revealed that he has an ankle injury and is day to day. It's something he's been dealing with a little bit, and Robert Saleh is hoping that the rest is something that helps it, which is obviously something that could happen when you rest on an ankle. And I hope that's the case, because he was obviously missed not being out there. They need Alijah Vera-Tucker badly, because the rest of that starting offensive line, good Lord, it did not go well. So Max Mitchell got banged up. It looked like he hurt his back. And went down and would come out for a few plays, would then enter back in with the second team and then move his way back up to the first team offense. When Max Mitchell went down with the injury, Mekhi Becton came in for a few snaps at left tackle on the first team. He had a really good day, mostly with the second team. The second team offensive line was very good. And keep in mind, this is the second team offensive line that is going up against the second team Jets defensive line. And that second team Jets defensive line kicked the crap out of the first team Carolina Panthers offensive line. So while, yes, they are going up against second teamers, keep in mind who those second teamers are and how they were able to have some success there. As for the first team offensive line, bad, really bad. Billy Turner was beat pretty bad. Laken Tomlinson was beat. Rodgers was sacked multiple times. He would get sacked. They're not necessarily hitting the quarterback, but he did actually go down as he got sandwiched in the pocket. He was trying to make a throw downfield, and Jordan Whitehead picked it off, and he got up limping a little bit and was fine. He didn't miss any time, and it doesn't sound like that's an area of concern for Robert Saleh or Aaron Rodgers or any of them, but just really brutally bad day for the offense today. There were three and outs. Rodgers had the interception. All that happened in the move the ball drills before they got in the red zone period, where they were a little bit better in the red zone, to be fair. Garrett Wilson had a touchdown. He beat DJ Reed on the play. And that first team offense did look better, but there was obvious frustration. Rodgers was a little bit frustrated with the routes that were being ran, supposedly. Just an overall sloppy day from the first team offense. Drops were involved. So if you want to put it on, bad performance from a little bit Rodgers, a little bit the wide receivers, a lot of bit the offensive line, all probably fair, but hard not to just have a little bit of a concern with that offensive line, especially you can't afford to lose AVT because of how beneficial he is with what he can do, his flexibility to play guard or tackle. But they have to seriously consider moving Mekhi Becton up in the pecking order to the first team offensive line. He was arguably the best offensive lineman today. He showed that he could play more reps. He played 25 offensive snaps, maybe 27 overall after a couple special teams plays. They need him right now because Max Mitchell, Billy Turner, the rotation of other offensive tackles going through the mix, Wes Schweitzer, Laken Tomlinson go right down the line. haven't been holding up. They haven't been playing up to par, which if you're serious about trying to win a championship and, be a team that's going to be in contention, you got to do whatever it takes to get this offensive line in gear. And if, we're going to believe Robert Saleh and his claim that the best 5 offensive linemen will play, right now, Mekhi Becton's been one of the best 5 in training camp practice. I know that they were taking it on slow with him. He should absolutely be in the mix. The thing is, or the issue, I guess, is he's taken snaps pretty much exclusively at left tackle. And Dwayne Brown, according to Robert Saleh, is going to be back soon, whatever soon means. And you're going to have to assume he plays left tackle because he hasn't taken snaps at right tackle since he was in college in his sophomore year, which I believe was 2006, because he's been in the NFL since 2008. So it's been a really freaking long time since he's taken any snaps at right tackle. Mekhi Becton, I know he got hurt playing right tackle last year, but he's played it at least at Louisville in, I believe, 2017, 2018, and then he was drafted in the NFL in 2020. But probably would have been wise to get some reps for Mekhi Becton at right tackle because, well, again, once Dwayne Brown's back, you feel like that's going to be the answer at left tackle, unless he isn't going to make it back. I don't know, but they got to change something up with this offensive line because it really wasn't working today. And they have joint practice tomorrow against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we'll see how the offensive line does against that unit. And we'll see if there's really that much of a difference. But again, really brutal day for the offensive line. Last positive note before we get out of here. I figure start with a positive, talking about Joe Tippmann. We'll end with a positive. It was really good Zach Wilson day. As I mentioned, the second team offense had a nice day. The offensive line looked good, and Zach Wilson looked good. He had a great throw to Bam Knight up the seam, which was a really nice play for a big game, and then he had a big gain rather, and then he hit Irv Charles for a touchdown. So you got to love that. Again, I thought he looked solid against Carolina, an improvement from what we saw against Cleveland. And you hope he just continues to stack, good practices and good appearances in the preseason game. And you take it with a grain of salt, right? Like you just have to hope that there's continued improvement because he's going to be this team's QB2. It's not going to be Tim Boyle. It's really going to be just Aaron Rodgers as the starter and Zach Wilson as QB2. And I hope you don't see Zach this year, right? I hope Aaron Rodgers plays all 17 games, and maybe, just maybe, you see Zach Wilson in a blowout or at the end of the year when it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, him progressing is good for if the Jets, if he's going to stick around, or the Jets if you're going to move on and trade him and his value goes up. So you absolutely take that one as a win. So ugly day at training camp. Hopefully it gets better soon. We'll be back tomorrow covering the live training camp, or I guess the joint practice. That's a much better way of describing it. The joint practice against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then I'll be at training camp on Thursday, so I'll have some eyeballs on the scene. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time. Go Jets.